to go. There we go. All right. Good morning. This is a meeting of the Los Angeles City Council on Wednesday, February 2nd, 2000. The council meets on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10 o'clock. We are, more or less, we are being viewed on Channel 35, the city's cable television station, and we are also available by council phone. And I think we are ready to call the meeting to order. Call the roll, please.
Brinson, Chick, Fier, Galanter, Goldberg, Hernandez, Holden, Miskowski, Pacheco, Padilla, Ridley, Thomas, Swarnich, Schwex, Walters, Ferraro, 11 members present, the quorum, Madam President.
Thank you. First item.
Approval of the minutes.
Without objection, so ordered.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
Unanimous vote.
Before beginning the regular agenda, there are several items that are requested to be continued.
All right, let's take those.
Item number 1, the applicant requests consents to a continuance to February 9th.
Without objection, that's approved.
Item number 3, applicant consents to continuance to February 23rd.
So ordered.
Item number 7, applicant consents to continuance to February 23rd.
Okay, also so ordered.
Item number 17, Council District 1 requests to continue 30 days to March 3rd.
Without objection, so ordered.
Item number 19, request to continue to February 8th.
So ordered.
Item number 24.
Why don't you just do them all? If there are any more. Oh, that's the last one, isn't it?
Request to continue to February 8th.
Okay.
Item number 28, request to withdraw from the agenda and refer to the city attorney. It's a closed session item.
All right. Well, we're always happy to refer it to the city attorney. I'm
And
sure he'll be
item-
back.
And item number 30, the city attorney requests that be continued. It's a closed session to Friday.
Excellent. So ordered. Okay. Now, we have several people who wish to make presentations. Mr. Padilla, are you up today?
Thank you, Madam President. Colleagues, happy Groundhog Day. And in spirit of Groundhog Day, there are some folks that I'd like to present who are shadowing me this morning. They are high school students from my district, leaders in their own rights, whether in elected office at their schools or not, and I just wanted to briefly introduce them and call them forward. Come on, don't be shy. You weren't shy in the office.
You have
We
to get
just-
up next to the councilman if you're going to be on television, and your folks are going to want to see you. So.
Closer? See, so I'm not the youngest one in the room anymore. This is Soledad Torres from Poly High School, I'm sorry. Here you go. Natalie Hernandez from my alma mater, San Fernando High School. Joseph Olish from Alamany High School. And Robert Daniel from Sylmar High School. So, thank you, colleagues, and for those of you who were kind enough to be introduced to them earlier this morning, I thank you for adding a little bit of part to their day here at City Hall.
You going to let them say anything?
Yes. Anybody like to say anything?
Don't all jump at once. You don't have to, but you're more than welcome to.
Well, we'd like to thank you all very much for your hospitality and for everything that you all have done for us while we've been here. Thank you.
Thank you.
And anything you've learned about city government or City Hall?
It was a fun experience to be here today. Thanks for having us here. And I guess some of us have career changes for the future. So.
I would just like to take this opportunity to thank Mr. Alex Padilla and everyone else for letting us be here today. Thank you.
Just also, I'd like to thank everybody for letting us be here, and thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Padilla. Next, Mr. Wax for an introduction. No? Yeah. All right, we'll do you later. Let's move then to the next item.
Next item, Madam President, items noticed for public hearing. Item number 2.
Do we have any cards. We do not have any cards on item 2, so without objection, the public hearing will be closed. And the matter is before us. And nobody wants to say anything, so open the roll. Close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 eyes.
That is approved. Next item.
Item number 4 is also a public hearing item.
And, you got any, no. We have no cards on that either, so the public hearing is hereby opened and closed, and item 4 is before us.
And I need a motion from the floor to deny the appeal.
Whose district is that? Mrs. Walters? Mrs. Walters moves denial of the appeal. Open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 eyes.
That is approved. That is the appeal, that is denied. Next item.
Item number 5 is also a public convenience and necessity. I need a motion to grant the application.
Mr. Ridley Thomas moves. Nobody wishes to be heard. Open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 eyes.
That is approved. Next item.
Items noticed for public hearing, items for which public hearings have been held, items 6 through 13.
All right, do we have any specials on items 6 through 14? Yes. 6, 10. 6 is fine, okay. Mrs. Walters calls item 10 special. And Mr. Ferraro also called item 10 special. You just didn't see him do it, but he'll be here. All right, so that leaves us 6 through 13, with the exception of 10. Oh,
President,
Yes.
Item number 7 was in Plum Committee yesterday and was
it's
continued
just
for
been
2 weeks.
continued
Yeah.
for 2 weeks, yes. Okay, 6 through, you're right, 6 through 13 with the exception of 7 that was continued and 10 has been called special. Open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 eyes.
Okay, those are approved. Next item.
Items for which public hearings have not been held, items 14 through 25.
Uh-oh, oh no, this is 10, all right. We have no cards on any of those. So the public hearing is open. If anybody wants to speak, say so now. The public hearing is closed on those items. All right, members of the council? 3 and 4, 3 was continued and 4 has already been acted on. I'm sorry, 24. That was continued to February 8th. 25, special. Mr. Padilla, was that you? Yes, okay. Okay, hold on. 23, Mr. Ridley Thomas. Anybody else? All right, let's open the roll on, you better recite what we've got here.
14 through 25 with the exception of 23 and 24,
Well, on 17 and 19.
the items that have already been acted
Right.
on.
Okay. Open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 eyes.
Those are approved. Next item.
Madam President, next item are the closed sessions. Do you wish to hold those on the
Let's hold
desk?
those on the desk and go back through whatever else we've got.
Item number 10 called special.
All right, item number 10, and we do have a card on item number 10. So, do we need a staff report on, we'll just have, we do need a staff report on this? Let's have a staff report. Step this way.
Good morning, President Galanter and members of the council. Emily Gabaletti for the record. I'm acting as the Deputy Advisory Agency for the Planning Department. This was a requested track map modification to the Farmers Market project that was originally approved by the council in 1991. The decision of the Deputy Advisory Agency was appealed. It was heard by the City Planning Commission in January of this year, and the applicant at that time submitted additional conditions on a voluntary basis, which were added to the track conditions. This included a neighborhood protection plan, as well as some changes to the transportation portions of the proposed modification. The commission decision was appealed to the Plum Committee. The Plum Committee heard the appeal on January 18th. They denied the appeal, however, they did incorporate further modifications to the track conditions, which included some clarifications of the previously approved neighborhood protection plan. So what is before you today is the modification of the tentative tract as approved by the Plum Committee.
We do have one person who, from the public, who has asked to speak, so we'll open the public hearing and call Mr. Todd Lindgren.
Good morning, council members. Excuse me, I have a cold. Please bear with me. My name is Todd Lindgren, and I am the Director of Governmental Affairs for the Hollywood Chamber of Commerce. On behalf of the Hollywood Chamber, I'm here to testify in support of the Farmers Market project. Its retail and restaurant establishments, cinema, office space, and community center development will positively impact the community, and the Hollywood Chamber urges you to approve this project. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else? All right, no one else from the public. The public hearing is closed. That's all. He just spoke. And Ms. Mizikowski, you seem to, if I've hit the button at the right time, you seem to be up next.
On behalf of the Planning Committee, I just wanted to indicate that the Planning Committee held a hearing on this. This is a revision to a tract map earlier approved. It is a reduction in square footage. It is an addition of neighborhood protection. And in addition to the Hollywood Chamber of Commerce, from whom you heard, there were letters submitted from Friends of Westwood in support of the project. The local groups and homeowner groups around the Beverly Center and Farmers Market area all were in support. This is something that is in Councilmember Ferraro's district and had been worked out well with the community, and the Planning Committee unanimously recommended denial of the appeal and granting of the tract map modification as it was submitted.
Cindy, we have an added motion. Is this from
You want John to do that?
Mr. Ferraro,
No, we need you to sign.
you're on.
Madam
We
President,
can
members,
switch seats as soon as you're done, but
I just want to point out that the Farmers Market project is in my district, and after decades, I think we finally have a perfect solution. During the past decade, in response to my concerns, the proposed project has been scaled back. In 1989, it was included 2 million square feet of development. In 1991, it was scaled down to 875 square feet. Today, it was scaled down to 713,000 square feet. There was much discussion of the construction of Stanley Avenue as a through street between 3rd and Beverly. I've asked your support in my motion 10A, which is being passed out, to ensure that Stanley will be extended. The project mitigates its own traffic. It has been scaled back to fit its 30-acre site and will have fewer impact as a result. It's been a long process, but it's been worth it. I believe this is an excellent development. I welcome the fact that the developers and the applicants have come to an agreement which I support. I recommend the City Council to approve the project and approve my motion and adopt the whole project. Let me point out that the developers that are doing this, I don't know how many of you have seen their project in the Valley, the project in Calabasas. They also have a project in Thousand Oaks, and it's not just a shopping center. It's really something that's very elegant and very aesthetically beautiful. It's almost a work of art, and I think that this will be a great addition to the City of Los Angeles, and I urge your support of my motion 10A and also to the project.
Mr. Fuhr.
Thank you, Madam President. We're really, I think, moving forward in a positive direction. I believe that Mr. Ferraro has introduced a motion. Is that what 10A is the Stanley piece? Right. A motion to assure that Stanley, which is a key street in the area, be opened And secondly, I have a motion which I believe the Council President and I will share, that also expands the neighborhood protection plan to include an area of my council district which inadvertently had been left out of the plan, and allocates a sum of money to deal with that area. So with these changes, with our colleagues' recommendation, with which I strongly concur, that Stanley be open, and the expansion of the neighborhood protection plan, I think this project is worthy of support and should move forward.
Staff, did you want to comment now, or do you want to, we have two more people who want to speak.
I wanted to bring to the council's attention only that we did respond, we have in the file responses to other issues that were raised at the Plum Committee regarding the project.
Okay, thank you.
I want the council to know that.
All right, I think that's a good idea. Mrs. Walters.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise in opposition to this project because of the impacts of one of the people who filed an appeal here, and that's the Beverly Center. I think it takes a little crust for them to file an appeal for traffic, given all of the problems that they cause with respect to traffic on a regular basis. And at holiday time, it's just really gridlocked there. I'm concerned that we don't have another monstrosity built like Beverly Center on this parcel. And one of the things that concerns me here is a theater complex, and it's said that may have stadium seating. Theater complexes with stadium seating are taller than theater complexes that don't have theater seating. And so I would urge you to please be sensitive to that and disallow the stadium seating because of the height of the building, and it's permissive as I read it here. The other thing, in addition to traffic, the overall traffic is horrendous. This project is not going in alone. This is on the north side of 3rd Street. On the south side of 3rd Street, we have Ross for Less has leveled a small strip mall, their not so small strip mall, and taken some of the property that was part of Park La Brea and is now in construction of God knows what. And just a few blocks down the street, again on Park La Brea property, they have taken out all their green space, their tennis courts, their clubhouse amenities for their residents, and are now putting up high-rise apartment buildings. So given that, those two projects, given this project, all happening on one street within a short distance between La Brea and Fairfax, 3rd Street is going to be just a nightmare between La Brea and La Cienega, given Beverly Center's problems currently. Another concern here is the number of liquor licenses being allowed in this development. And one of them in particular, the Motion Picture Theater wants a full-service license, liquor license. They've got liquor licenses to Jillian restaurants, to supermarkets, one to the department store. Now, I want to know what in the world a motion picture theater needs with a full-service liquor license. I don't think this is a project that serves the community well. I do recognize the hard work and the years of work that Mr. Ferraro and his staff have put in on this, but I think coming at this time with those adjacent developments, they all need to be looked at as one to see what the impacts are on this community and on traffic getting from La Brea to Fairfax. And I urge you, Council, to let us have some specific answers to those before this project is okay to go forward. I will be voting no.
Mrs. Chick.
Yes, I believe that our colleague, Mr. Fuhrer, is going to address some of the points that Councilmember Walters raised. I simply rise to say how pleased and actually excited I am that I anticipate this project going forward today. The farmers market, albeit I am from the West San Fernando Valley, is a jewel of the city of Los Angeles. And as we continue to look for venues and places where people can gather and enjoy themselves and actually be pedestrians and see each other than from the waist up in a car stopped at a red light, the farmers market has an enormous amount to contribute. I have childhood memories of going there and seeing a piece of what LA used to be. And as we work in the 3rd District to preserve certain aspects of what the valley used to be in looking at some of the uses, for instance, of Pierce College and preserving the agricultural program, this new renovated farmers market can be the best going into we're in the 21st century, and also maintain and preserve something very special from the past of this city. So I look forward to being a yes vote on this project.
Oops, Mr. Wax.
I would like if someone from if the developer himself is here or representative, to perhaps make a presentation briefly to the council as to how the farmers market in fact is going to be preserved. I think it's important that we reassure people. I agree with what's been said. I think the farmers market is one of the great jewels.
The original farmers market will be preserved.
Yeah, I understand that, John. I'm trying to help you out here, or not help you out, but I think it's important that we let the public know and that the developers assure the public exactly what will happen with the original farmers market. Because I happen to think that the farmers market to me is one of the great jewels in this city. It is something that's irreplaceable. But things need to live. They can't just left to languish or they die. So they need new lives injected to them. And I think that from what I've been told, we have found the best of both worlds here, the ability to preserve what is precious to the people and at the same time make it economically viable to sustain itself. I think people should have the opportunity to know that before we vote in what we're voting on. So I would ask if someone from the developer himself could come forward and make a brief presentation to the council and the public who is watching this on television, to know exactly what will happen to the farmers market, so that people know what's going to happen, rather than having people make assumptions that may or may not be true. While they're coming up, and I'll give them a moment, if I may, Madam President, we have some guests that have arrived, and we have 35 wonderful 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade students from the Ranchito Avenue Elementary School in my district. They're not just students, they're junior teachers. They come in and help the teachers in when they're off track. They do this voluntarily and help even some of the younger children, and they're really setting a model for good behavior as well as good scholarship. And they're here with Dr. Sunny Vasquez, the vice principal, and their parents, Mercedes Ramirez and Gemma Tavares. And I wonder if the students and the teachers and the principal would please stand and be recognized by the council. We love having you here, and we hope you'll visit us on many more occasions. Thank you. And now, thank you very much.
And you can watch all this again at 7 o'clock tonight. 7:30, sorry.
Mr. Caruso, or wherever would be easiest for you to make the presentation so that it can be seen not only by the council but by those viewing this. I want the people of the city to be assured that you are doing what I understand you are doing, which I think is quite fabulous. I see Mr. Hilty here, that this is really important to the people of Los Angeles, and I think they should know what it is we're voting on. So let me ask you on my time to make that presentation.
Well, there isn't much of your time left, so we'll do it on everybody's time. Mr. Hilty.
Thank you for the opportunity to talk to you today. Appreciate the opportunity to be here before the council again. We were here about 10 years ago with almost the same project, but this one is much better in our view. My name is Hank Hilty. I'm the president of the A.F. Gilmore Company. The property that we're addressing this morning, we have owned for well over 100 years, and the market has been there for over 60 years. The linchpin to our redevelopment plans has always been to assure that the market was supported and was the center of any development that was brought onto the property. It's very important to the market and the community, to the Gilmore family, and particularly to the merchants of the market who've been serving the public for all these years. We looked high and we looked low for a developer that had the vision to be able to incorporate the market into a project that would support the community and would bring continued recognition to the city of Los Angeles. And in that effort, we spoke to many developers, but the one that caught our attention and really caught our interest was the Caruso organization, with the developments that they have brought to the San Fernando Valley and have created community out of nothingness in developing a retail center that provides a place for people to come together and be part of a community and are pedestrian in nature. And the plan that he has put together that will incorporate the market brings all those things back into a very urban, dense area. And it's a commentary on the genius of their organization to be able to do that and to revitalize this area, which we are very much looking forward to and to be a part of. And with that, I'd like to introduce Rick Caruso to make a quick and brief presentation of the attributes of the project and how the market fits into it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hilty. Mr. Caruso.
Good morning, members of council. Thank you, Hank. I just want to quickly repeat what Hank has said. The primary goal in designing this project was to preserve the original market. Not only to preserve it, but to enhance it, revitalize it, and really ensure that for years to come, the market is going to have additional business, which allows it to continue to prosper. The market remains as you see it today. There will be no impact to the market. That's not only my commitment, that is Hank Hilty's commitment. And then beyond that, we've made an extension of the market that includes retail, restaurants, shopping, dining, to really create an overall ambiance on the property so people can spend the day or spend the afternoon and hang out and create a sense of community. I don't know how well you can see this, but to give you an orientation, this is the corner of 3rd and Fairfax. This is the original market, which will remain. There's going to be a new street that will go from the market down to the center of the retail project. In the center of the retail project, we're dedicating 2 acres as a park. It's designed to be very lushly landscaped for people just to hang out. The center street's going to look and feel like a street, but it's going to be pedestrian only, so there's no vehicular traffic in the way of pedestrian traffic. And we're even bringing back one of the old original red car trolleys that will go from the market down through to the new project to really celebrate the history of Los Angeles. And the architecture of what's happening on this project, again, is reminiscent of the great LA architecture. And it's eclectic. It's to individualize each retail space to allow retailers to merchandise their goods not only on the inside, but to merchandise that experience on the outside through the architecture. So it's classical, it's fun, it's true to the architecture. It's not intended to be Universal Studios-like or Disney-like. It's designed to look like a great old street that was built adjacent to the market and has now been revitalized and is now a great old commercial district. So this sort of gives you a feel of what we're planning on the market. And we thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. Caruso. You have 40 seconds, Joel. Go ahead. Are you done? All right.
I want to thank them and compliment Councilman Ferraro and Councilman Fuhr, because I think it's important. Mr. Holden.
No, he's got 30 seconds left. Leave him alone.
I think it's important that we reassure people that development can be good. and that development can be healthy as long as it respects the values that you have in this project. And I'm really excited by this because I go to the farmers market probably more than anybody. There at least once a week. I love that place. I love the people there. I want that feel retained. I want old people to be there. I want young people. I want visitors. It just has a wonderfulness to it that has to be kept. And if we can do that and keep it healthy, congratulations. I know what Mr. Ferraro started this long time ago when Mr. Yaroslavsky was still the council member in the 5th District, and what you've gone through and all the hearings and the compromises, but I think that you've come up with something really terrific.
Mr. Fuhr.
Thank you, Madam President. I just wanted to take a second, Rita, just for a second, and respond to Ms. Walters' concerns regarding the Beverly Centers issues on this project. As you know, the Beverly Center is in my council district, and they did raise concerns, and they conferred about those concerns with me, and as recently as this morning, they've been meeting extensively under the auspices of Councilmember Ferraro's office with the developer, and I understand that within the last 40 minutes or so, the Beverly Center's concerns have been addressed by the developer, and that they no longer object to the project. And some of those concerns relate to traffic mitigations that have been important, assurances that Stanley would remain an open street, and so forth. So I want to just be sure that we were on the same page regarding the facts here, and that no longer is an objection from Beverly Center. In fact, there's concurrence, and there's some team effort underway to improve traffic in the region as a whole.
Ms. Misikowski.
I wanted to just react to some of those issues as well. In the Planning and Land Use Committee, what was also we were made aware of is that actually the existing project, which already was approved in 1991, was actually a higher density. So more square footage was already authorized and approved, and it's actually this partnership. In fact, I appreciate that Mr. Wax asked that this be addressed so that we could share with the public that we have the best in terms of a partnership of Mr. Hilty, who represents the old, long-time, multi-generational family ownership of the farmers market, who's preserved it, with the partnership of a new developer, Mr. Caruso, who's not so new. He has done wonderful projects out of spaces where there was not a project before. I am lucky enough to have a project of his in my district on Ventura Boulevard at Havenhurst, which is exactly, I think, as Mr. Ferraro indicated, that it makes a community center where there was not one before, out of a commercial development. It's got a bookstore where Saturday evenings children are read to at the bookstore, just like you might have in a community library. You see families strolling with kids around that area and dropping kids off while the parents go and have a cup of coffee. It shows where pedestrian-oriented commercial can be developed, like the farmers market, in the modern day, and that's what this partnership has brought. It has addressed the traffic issues. In fact, one of the motion that Mr. Ferraro has just brought in today, amending it, says that there shall now be cooperation between the Beverly Center and the farmers market to look constructively with our own Department of Transportation, where they can together look at some of the issues that are raised by the developments and mutually look to solve them together. And so I think it really is a win-win all the way around. It's a marvelous project. The other point, Mr. Wax, is that in 1991, with Councilman Ferraro's help, the farmers market was designated a cultural monument. So in fact, it needed to be preserved. The council recognized that a decade ago, and we have the project today that's doing it, well worked out with the council district and the old and new developers who are making it happen.
And the adjacent council district. Mr. Holden.
Mr. President, members, we worried about the Beverly Center, and how many miles away is the Beverly Center from Fairfax 3rd Street? 1 mile?
1 mile, 2 miles.
Oh, okay. 5,280 feet, huh? All right. Now, when you go south from the 3rd Street to Olympic Boulevard, that's my district, less than a mile. Nobody said anything about my district. I mean, only Ferrara. And I'll accept that.
We were counting on you, Nate.
Well, I know, but there's an impact on the 10th District. But you know what? The overriding need to improve the farmers market makes it necessary that we go forward. Otherwise, John, I would have to vote no. You do understand that? Okay, fine. The other thing I see here, where you're going to have full-service restaurants, and prior to arrangements they're going to have dancing. Dancing shall be allowed only in 2 full-service restaurants. And Mr. Wax said he supports this, and I had a little dinky place over there on Western and 7th. He tried to kill me off. Maybe it's just the author, I don't know.
You should have made peace with the homeowners there, Mr.
Yeah, well, we did make peace with them, but the fact of the matter is that, Mr. Wax, you choose and you choose, but that's all right. That's in my memory drum. And I might also say that I went to visit Farmers Market when I came. It was a place to go to visit, and it's been overshadowed by all the development in the surrounding areas. Just like, for an example, the grocery store at Harvard and Olympic, which was Koreatown at one point, but all the development around it no longer exists. If we're going to save Farmers Market for future generations, and we should, then I would encourage us to vote aye and do what's been requested in this amended report. It reminds me of the Hollywood sign. If you remove the Hollywood sign, what would Los Angeles be? It says Big Hollywood. I like to see that sign up there. And I like to visit Farmers Market. And I like eagles. If you pull the feathers out of eagles, it's like Farmers Market without wings or eagles without feathers, that kind of thing. Just a twist and play on words. But the fact that matters is that an eagle without wings is like LA without Farmers Market. So we got to have them both. And with that, Madam President and Mr. Ferrara, I'm going to vote aye. Notwithstanding the fact that they're selling a little alcohol over there for refreshments in a little restaurant.
This is obviously a historic occasion. Mr. Fewer's supporting it, Mr. Holden's going to vote
I can't
aye.
believe it. Mr. Fewer was against the other one, too. I don't understand what's going on
And the two
around
of you are
here.
going to be on the same side. I don't know
That's
what the world
right.
is coming to.
I don't understand these flip-flop
Okay,
votes.
it's Mr. Hernandez's turn.
I was almost swayed not to say anything by Mr. Holden. Members of the council, I think that this project represents a lot to Los Angeles because of the history of Farmers Market, and I think also because of the future of the city. I wanted to stand to commend Councilmember President Ferraro and his staff for their patience in trying to make this project work for many people. And when you talk about a project that has a 10-year history, let's understand the part when I say patience, because a lot of interest were involved in this process, and it's not the project that basically is maximizing the development in such a way that it maximizes the profits of the players. It's a project that I think maximizes the opportunities to basically create a center that makes a difference. There is traffic mitigation, that's part of it. It was scaled down. It does create an atmosphere that I think complements the surrounding communities in a way that will enhance the sense of a community, even though you have a development project right in Smiths. I think with its proximity to the museums, again, it kind of creates a centrifuge that's going to make a difference in the city. And I just wanted to, stand to commend the hard work that's gone into it. I'd like this council to unanimously approve this project so that we could all feel comfortable with the direction of the city because of these kinds of projects. And I think that a city that basically has been built out in many areas has to relook at how it does things, and this is an example of how to do things.
Thank you. Mrs. Walters.
Thank you, Madam President. I raised the issue of Beverly Center, raised their objections, simply to point out that they had a lot of crust. It's pretty arrogant for them to object to this, given the gridlock that they regularly create, on almost a daily basis, certainly a weekend basis, and at the holiday time, from Thanksgiving to Christmas, is just nearly impassable in there in any direction. And they block traffic, almost back to Crescent Heights, east on 3rd Street. The square footage that was reduced in this project came about in part because of the elimination of senior housing that was originally planned in this program. I'm glad to see what I can see of the designs here and what I hear of the sensitivity of the developer. Those are positives, but it doesn't do anything for the traffic. And Mr. Fuhrer has rightly brought a motion that will address that somewhat. But we're taking this in isolation again to what is going on on the south side of 3rd Street, which is going to create its own impacts, which are going to be detrimental with those of this project. And I think the traffic mitigation has got to be looked at as a whole between La Brea and Fairfax and between Fairfax and La Cienega. Whatever the mileage is in there, 2 miles or 10 miles, it has the potential for continued gridlock, and that's what needs to be looked at. And the liquor in a theater, again, they've got, I don't know, upwards of maybe 20 or more licenses, more like 25 licenses, liquor licenses of one sort or another, permitted in here, and I don't know why they need one for a theater.
Mr. Ferraro to close.
Madam President, members of the council, I just want to point out, and I'm sure that Mr. Wax deeply knew that the farmers market was designated in 1991 as a historical monument, and he wanted to bring that out for whatever reason, but that was one of the main concerns, was to preserve that farmers market. Also, I want to point out that this new facility there will bring more of the seniors who live around the area to enjoy the atmosphere that it's going to generate because of the beautiful facility that will be built there. The traffic has been mitigated. Alan Rifkin has assured me that they've done everything they can to do that, and we support that. So I just want to point out that Mrs. Walters, as you often say, this is my district. I think this is going to be a benefit to my district, and I'd urge all of you to vote aye for the on the proposal that's before us.
All right, that brings us to a vote. We have item 10A, which is the amending motion. 10B, sorry, what do we have? All right, so 10B and 10A are Mr. Ferraro's amendment, Mr. Feuer's amendment, and the project as a whole. Do we need to vote on them separately, or can we just add them all in together? Can we do them all? Why can't we do them all together? So let's open the roll on 10 as amended by 10A and 10B. Open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes, 1 no.
All right, that is approved. Congratulations. Congratulations, Mr. Ferraro. And let's do that forthwith.
Forthwith on that.
Yes, let's do that forthwith. And now, council members, we need to go back and reconsider items 6, 14, 15, and 16 because we didn't have 12 members present at the time, and we need to get the ordinances done. So without objection, we are going to reconsider those 4 items and open the roll on, do you need to do them separately, or can we do them all together? All right, so we're now going to open the roll once again on items 6, 14, 15, and 16. Open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
All right, those are all approved, which brings us to
Item number 23, call special by Councilmember Ridley Thomas.
Mr. Ridley Thomas. Could you hit the speaker button, please? Thank you. Go.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the council. This item is essentially an attempt to flag for those who are interested in the matter of environmental quality as it relates to the proposed fleet rule that is being issued by the South Coast Air Quality Management District. We have rather disparate policy initiatives currently afoot. Multiple motions have been initiated and are presented. Item number 23 essentially calls for the coordination of those motions so that we can have a coherent and hopefully not only a potent but progressive policy with respect to the issue of air quality. At a variety of points over the last several weeks or months, various items have come forward, and I simply want to say that now is the opportunity to develop comprehensive policy that could set a new standard for not only the city, the state, but even the nation. That is our objective. Madam President, I simply wish to call it to the attention of the members of the council so that they can be alerted to the fact that we're going to move this agenda with some degree of expediency, because I think it's well overdue. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
That is approved. Next item.
Item number 25, called special by Councilmember Padilla.
Would you hit the speaker thing, please?
Thank you, Madam President. If I could call...
Alex, first hit the speaker thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President. If I can call the staff forward to make a very brief presentation just to summarize what this item is.
Bob Canfield with the CAO's office, representing the city's emergency operations organization. This item is to ask the council's permission and approval to move forward with the purchase of a off-the-shelf software product that we worked with the vendor on over the last year and a half to 2 years. This is a product that we need to improve the ability of the city's emergency operations center to function. It's a very useful product for us in that it's more intuitive, would allow us to better organize our information, provides us capabilities that we do not currently have, such as mapping capabilities, a better damage assessment process. The reason we're before you seeking this approval is not because of the funding issue. We had budgeted for this in our 99-2000 budget. But in the process of working with the vendor, an issue of property rights came up, as we've outlined in the motion. And although the city attorney's office believes that the process that we're going through fully compensates the city for its effort, they felt that we needed to ask the council for authority to move forward.
Thank you. And the only reason I called it special is really to highlight it, because I think it's a great example of the good things that Los Angeles is doing. I chair the Information Technology Committee for the city, and I commend the emergency operations personnel and their work in conjunction with the vendor in the development of this software. We all know about a recent report that was released that gave the city a grade, and it made many, many comments to our technological capabilities. But I think this is a shining example. We are the first city in the country to have developed this and to have this being implemented in our emergency operations system. It's a web-based, if I understand correctly, web-based communication and information emergency management software program. We're on the cutting edge. It's a highlight for the city of Los Angeles, and it's something that we can be proud of. I ask for your aye vote.
Mr. Ridley Thomas.
Madam President, I simply rise to commend the respective departments for bringing this project to a head, Mr. Patia, and causing it to come forward. We've been working on this for approximately 3 years, it seems to me.
97.
And it's good to see that there was a level of stick-to-itiveness on this, otherwise it would have fallen by the wayside. So to the Emergency Operations Board and that whole set of persons in the CAO's office and otherwise, I think this is, as Mr. Padilla has indicated, important. Now, since that time, the entity that was in place, Illusions, has now become the E-Team. Is that not correct?
Yes, sir.
And I think this is indicative of the dynamism, if not the volatility, in the marketplace as it relates to technology. And it is my view that the city has to walk with a certain degree of not only prudence but cautiousness because of how quickly things do change. And I do believe that the way in which the city has chosen to embrace it and yet not inherit the liability owing to these issues is very, very smart, and yet we will inherit the upside, and the constituency of the city, broadly speaking, will be benefited by it. So I commend you for the follow-through in this regard.
Thank you. There being no other speakers, the matter is before us. Open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
Unanimous vote. That is approved. We might as well send that forthwith as well. We've had, and forthwith on number 9 as well. We've had a request to reconsider item number 4 in order to hear from the property owner, and if there's no objection to doing that, we'll hear from Ms. Estrada.
Hi.
Go ahead.
I wanted you people to reconsider. We're only moving from premises to premises, from 1520 to 1524, which is one door down, only to be in the corner. Now, the store has been in the family, and it's been us for 20 years as of September. No violations, no sales to minors, no sales to intoxicated persons, no sales to minors on cigarettes or tobacco. 20 years, no violations, and it's us. This is only one door down, which is safer for us and more noticeable for our business, that's all. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you, and we appreciate your coming. Mrs. Walters, this is in your district. Do you have a recommendation? So your recommendation, I'm sorry, why don't you just do it? So, go ahead.
My recommendation stands that the application should be denied. There's a reason why the ABC requires people to go back and get whatever it is, a conditional use for, or we require the conditional use for moving from premises to premises. This is an area of very high crime area. We have, in the last few years, one of our community developers has built a very large, low to moderate income housing project there. Lots of children that were not there before. We're trying to build a little park adjacent to that, and this is not the place for continued liquor sales. And I think that the market in and of itself, without the liquor, will provide a service to these families and to the community, but the liquor is detrimental to the development of this area.
Thank you. All right, members of the council, you've heard from the property owner and from the council member of the district. Oops, Mr. Holden.
How long has that liquor store been there?
20 years as of September.
20 years. You have a history of having problems with the police?
No. No violations at all from
None at all for 20 years?
For 20 years.
Then what are you doing?
I have no idea. There's other liquor stores around the area that have been closed for violations and problems. Thank God we haven't.
You own the liquor store?
Yes, I do. My son helps me run it.
The only difference is that Ms. Walters is consistent. She's just against liquor stores and wine and beer. I mean, it comes in there, she's going to vote no anyway. So she's consistent.
But my question is, this is not a new license. We're moving from one door to next door. This is a safer place because we have more windows on both sides. We're spotted better by the police and people,
well, all right,
and we can see
only problem I have
better.
is that we always support the fat cat. We find enough votes to do that. But the ones who are not so wealthy, we always vote against them. But I'm not going to vote against you.
All right.
I have a question.
Wait, hold on. Mr. Hernandez is next. We're not done yet.
Okay.
Yeah, do you have to move? Because if you don't move, you still keep your license.
Right. I can always move back, only that the corner is safer for us. We have a back exit on Venice Boulevard, a back door. On Flower Street, we don't have a back door. One front door, 4 small windows up on top. That's the only ventilation we have. So I feel safer as far as fire, as far as anything. Because we have an exit in the back door, a back door, more ventilation, and then we're being spotted by the police better because the windows on both sides.
You know, members of the council, I would move a continuance on this item. And I would like it to go to Plum so that we could review whether there are proper findings for this decision. I don't think that the Caldera legislation allows us to arbitrarily deny licenses, but we have to have findings. And I didn't hear any real reasons for Ms. Walters except she has a policy. And I would just ask that we look at it a little bit closer. I'm not asking us to disagree with Ms. Walters. I'm asking us to look at this issue because you have a long-term business owner who's been trying to do it right, and we're penalizing them when, in fact, other liquor licenses have been closed down in the area, and there has been, surveillance by the police. So I just would ask that we continue this item, send it to Plum, and allow us to look at the findings so that we can make a recommendation to the full council.
Okay, Ms. Mizikowski.
I had just looked at the item on the agenda, and it was being recommended for denial because they have not yet gone for the conditional use permit, which is what they need to do and apply for. So we have used Caldera denials in the past, and we use it as a denial without prejudice, indicating that when the applicant goes through the planning department, goes to a zoning administrator, holds the hearing, hears from the community, hears from the police department and their recommendations, then we can grant Caldera at that time. But so we could either deny it without prejudice because they haven't gone through that process, but if it comes back to Plum without their going through the process, we still need the zoning administrator and all of that application work to be done by the applicant. That still is necessary. So we either can, but I'm not sure that we can continue it indefinitely. I think the reason we deny Caldera without prejudice is because Caldera has a timeline, and if it's not denied, it's granted automatically. So I think this one was a denial until they go through the process, and at that time we can see what the plan.
So if we deny it today, then she could go through that process.
Yes.
And then at that time, we could look at the findings and so forth. Okay,
Correct.
then I stand corrected from that perspective. I think that as long as she's going through the process, then we could review the item.
Mrs. Walters.
Thank you, Madam President. Mr. Hernandez says he didn't hear anything about problems. All he heard was my policy. He didn't hear my policy for me. He heard policy as Mr. Holden assumes it to be. We have granted liquor licenses under Caldera, places in the district, but this location is no longer suitable for a liquor store, and I very carefully articulated to the council what those reasons are. The addition of numerous families with lots of children adjacent to this property, on the other street from this property. The building of a neighborhood park and community center. We've had horrendous gang activity in the area, and there's a high crime problem in the area. And I do not believe that a liquor store is any longer suitable for that location. It does not go to whether these are good operators or not. It goes to the change of the neighborhood, this Caldera legislation, as well as the prior legislation that existed with respect to ABC. When a person moves a location, then we have an opportunity to re-examine the impact on the community. It is my judgment that the impact on the community will be a negative impact if they move. And if they stay with the liquor. But we don't have anything, we can't alter past history, but if they move, which begins a new chapter, we can impact what's going to happen in that community.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes, and then I'm going to close the public hearing. Go ahead.
What, am I supposed to move back then to my 1520 next door?
As soon as this hearing is over, I'm going to have somebody explain to you exactly what your options are, because as we've discussed it here at the council, as I understand it, if the committee recommendation is upheld, and Mrs. Walters' recommendation is upheld, so your appeal is denied, then you do have options. You can either move back where your license is still good, or you can go through the conditional use permit process, which will get somebody to come over and explain to you exactly how that works. Okay? All right. With that, we're going to close the public hearing, and the matter is before us. So we have two motions. Your motion is You still want to vote on your motion?
I withdraw my motion
All
because
right.
that's what would have to be done in order to trigger her going through
All
a
right.
conditional use permit.
So the only item before us is item 4 as it appears on the agenda, which is, and as Mrs. Walters has recommended, which is the denial of the appeal. Open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes, 1 no.
All right, so that is approved, and now can we have somebody go and explain to this lady what her options are? Thank you. All right, next item.
Madam President, the city attorney has advised that closed session item number 29 can be continued to Wednesday, February 9th.
All right, we'll do that, and that leaves 26 and 27, right? And we better do public comment before we do that. All right, now is the time for public comment on items not on today's agenda. I have only one card from Larry Ross. Start.
My name is Larry Ross, and I am going to begin where I left off in December, or as I have written down here, I am here today to continue from where I left off in December 1999, telling of the abuses and violations against my sons, family, and I. The abuses and violations are numerous and form a long series of continuous and or uninterrupted abuses and violations of my sons, family, and as well as the duly constituted laws of this city, county, and state, but especially of the federal and or national constitution, which all laws of this city, county, and state must conform or adhere. Because the latter was used to bring this nation into existence by uniting the states and directing them on their self-same or united course. We know that to be true. So the following are only a few of the criminal activities of the law-defiant perpetrators against my sons, my family, and I. Intentional being exposed to the harsh weather or environment. Intentional trying to induce stress or mental anguish or trauma. Intentional trying to destroy the quality of life and health. Intentional subjected to natural and artificial created cold environments. Intentional or continuous efforts to cause disfigurements and or permanent damages. Intentionally induce bleeding or mayhem caused by means of their toys. I prefer the term or word playthings. The government sanctioned the selling of defective products to me. The government sanctioned the selling of dangerous defective products, which I refer to as being fraud. The government sanctioned the spying and dissemination of defamatory materials or lies against me. The government sanctioned the infringements and or encroachments upon the ideas, works, and projects, which I refer to as being Operation Wait and Take. The government sanctioned the intentional design to destroy or damage the speaking and singing voices of mine. And the list of abuses and violation goes on and on and on and on. All of the above, the U.S. Supreme Court has original jurisdiction. There's no one who is above the law, not even that body. So I'd like to find out who are the ones who sit right here in this chamber or stand here in this chamber and say what the outcome of a matter shall be before the proper body has had the opportunity to hear. Because I have heard, since I've been here this morning, communication concerning the fact that there are those here believing that they have the authority to determine a matter before it can be heard properly. Now, if those individuals are still here in this room at this time, I would like for them to speak up, to identify themselves, because all of these issues, as I have stated, the U.S. Constitution has original jurisdiction. So that means that no local body can make that decision. No one at the state level can make that decision, not even the state Supreme Court. So who in this room has more authority than the state Supreme Court, much less the federal Supreme Court? Since you have had an opportunity to speak, and I have heard nothing to contradict my statements, I will conclude at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Ross. There being no other cards, that closes the public comment period, and we're ready for the next item.
Next item, Madam President, Special 1 motion brought in by yourself, and the city attorney will explain the need to make the findings.
Thank you, Council President. On Tuesday, November 30th, 1999, Dr. Singh Sadiva was shot to death at his home. The police don't have suspects, and they are asking the community, they are asking for this reward so that the community will respond and they will get some leads.
Thank you. Open the roll on the findings. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
All right, the matter is before us, and I certainly would ask your support. This was a particularly brutal home invasion and seems to have surprised everybody, and the police believe that somebody knows what this is all about, so I would ask your support. Open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
Thank you. Forthwith, please. Next item.
Before going into closed session, do you wish to clear the desk?
Yes.
Motions for posting and referral.
Those are approved.
You have 2 requests to be excused. Councilmember Wax requests to be excused April 7th and 11th. Personal business meets council policy.
Without objection, that's approved.
Councilmember Pacheco requests to be excused Wednesday, February 9th. Personal business, I need a motion.
Ms. Mizikowski moves, Mrs. Chick seconds. Unanimous vote.
That clears the desk.
All right, and we're now ready for executive session. Is that correct? We have 2 items left. All right, so I must ask those of you who are not involved in the executive session to leave quickly and quietly. And if we can get those who are involved in the executive session in here, we can do that quickly and quietly.
The amount of $118,900 in the case of Ted Watson versus Fisher et al.
All right, open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
That is approved forthwith, and what's next?
The desk is clear,
That's
Madam
it.
President.
Do we have any adjourning motions? Doesn't look like it. In that case, the council is adjourned.